Hello viewers, welcome to Medico Virally. Hope you are doing well. Thank you for subscribing. If you haven't subscribed yet, click the subscribe button below and hit the bell icon. If you want to join Telegram or WhatsApp, click the link given in the description and get joined. In this video, we are going to discuss about the new drugs which are used to treat angina. And regarding the angina pectoris and the MI, we have already discussed in the last video. This video only tells you about the new drugs, and the first new drug we have is ivabradine. About the ivabradine, we have discussed in the new drugs to treat congestive heart failure. If you haven't watched that video, kindly do watch. And a small recap of the ivabradine is, the letters of the ivabradine tells you about its significance. So the ivabradine, the main function, it decreases the heart rate. It causes the bradycardia. So the brad in the ivabradine tells you that it causes bradycardia and decreases the heart rate. And what is the main mode of action of ivabradine? It blocks the sodium channels. So this blocks the sodium channels, and the funny current that is released from the SA node will be blocked. In this way, it causes bradycardia. And there is a side effect of this drug. The VA will tell you about the side effect. So these two letters has the significance related to the side effect, that is, there is a decrease in visual acuity. So the visual acuity of the patient who is on ivabradine will be decreased. And that's all you have to remember about ivabradine. And the diagram is representing about the ivabradine. And we have another enzyme in our body, that is Rho kinase. Do you know what Rho kinase does in your body? Yeah, if you know that, then you can understand why we are inhibiting that drug. Yes, the Rho kinase exactly causes the vessels to constrict. So, do you need the vessels to constrict in angina? No, that's absolutely not the deal. We want the vessels to be dilated in the angina, and that is why we are blocking this enzyme, and that is why there was a new discovery, that is Rho kinase inhibitors are being produced in the market. And the main names of the drugs is, as they work on the heart, dil, that is why they end with the dil. So the fasudil and the netarsudil. So these are the names of the drugs that come under the Rho kinase inhibitors, and they block the Rho kinase, and they ultimately lead to vasodilation. And there is another significance regarding the netarsudil. So it is recently approved for treating glaucoma also. How do you remember that? Yeah, in our society there was a Neta leader, and the Neta has about 60 years and was suffering from glaucoma and recently underwent a surgical treatment. And that's the way you can remember about the netarsudil, which was approved for treating glaucoma. And the third drug, and the third new drug that is used in angina, is the metabolic modulators. If you can see the words here, the modulator tells you that it is modulating or changing something. So there will be something changed. Where it is modulating the metabolism. So that is why this group of drugs are given the metabolic modulators. Here the main mechanism you have to understand is, for glucose to produce the ATP, it needs only 100 molecules of oxygen. Okay, so for glucose to generate the ATP, it needs only 100 molecules of oxygen. But for fatty acids, it needs 200 molecules of oxygen to produce the ATP. Most of time, in all of our life, the heart uses the fatty acids to produce ATP, and that is the reason heart demands you more oxygen. And when this demand is more and the supply is less, the angina causes, and later it leads to MI. So now in this situation, in the very critical situation that the patient with angina, you need the heart to utilize the glucose instead of fatty acids. Am I right? So even in this time, if the heart uses the fatty acids, you have to supply more oxygen, which currently you cannot do. because all of your vessels are constricted, no blood flows to the heart, and there is very decreased supply of the oxygen. That is why we push the heart to utilize the glucose, so that there will be decreased amount of demand from the heart, and even with the decreased amount of oxygen it can generate the ATP. Why ATP is needed? Just for the contractility. Am I right? Yeah, for the pumping action of the heart you need the ATP. So to decrease this oxygen demand by the heart, we came with a new drugs, that is trimetazidine and ranolazine. So you have to remember the meta, the trimetazidine, the meta tells you that this is the drug which was approved for under the metabolic modulators, and the other drug is ranolazine. So you have to remember that's all about this group of drugs. And the last but not least, dipyridamole is again a newer drug used to treat angina. So dipyridamole causes coronary steal phenomenon. You know what exactly it means? Yeah, I will tell you. Have you watched the Robin Hood movie? If you haven't, do watch. It's a very nice movie. In that movie, the hero steals the money and the wealth from the richer people and he distributes to the poor people. But in our body, the blood supply, or else this drug exactly does the opposite. That's a mechanism you have to watch on the screen. For example, the 100% or 100 molecules of oxygen are passing through this vessel. But due to the presence of the atherosclerotic plaque here, there is only 20% of the supply to this vessel, and the remaining 80% is given to the other vessel where there is no atherosclerotic plaque. But when this drug is utilized, even the small coronary arteries are also being dilated. And what it causes? It takes even this small amount, the 20% of the blood supply which is reaching this injured blood vessel, even that amount of blood is being stolen and then given to the good vessel. That means the 10% of this blood is again taken and given to the 80%. So 90% is given to the good vessel and 10% is given to the poorer vessel. So this is exactly opposite what Robin Hood does in the movie. So that is why this is known as the reverse Robin Hood phenomenon. So there are other drugs also which cause the same phenomenon, that is, you can remember it by the mnemonic HIDE. H for hydralazine, I for isoflurane, D for dipyridamole, E for enflurane. So if you are asked in the MCQs, just remember HIDE and you can remember or rule out the MCQs at least. The beta blockers produce Robin Hood phenomenon, but this HIDE group of drugs produce you reverse Robin Hood phenomenon. Regarding this, you will study in the pulmonary hypertension more detailedly, and this is all enough to remember in the angina part. If you have any suggestions, kindly do comment below, and if you like the video, hit the like button and share among your friends. Thank you very much for watching.